Oh dear, -10 is clearly too cold for this Land Rover. I really hope I haven't damaged anything. Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the channel and another video on the Land Rover. It's been ages since I've done anything on the Land Rover, and I've got so many things, so many jobs building up that today I said, you know, come hell or high water, I'm going to get up to the garage and I'm going to do some work on the Land Rover. So finally I'm up here. It's also something I've really been looking forward to myself. So on the run up to Christmas, I didn't get anything done because I was working on the X5 in here. I changed all the rotors and brake pads to get that ready for the drive to the UK, and that all went perfectly well. So what I did was I raised the Porsche up and I pushed the Land Rover as far as I could underneath the lift to create some space in here. So actually I managed to get 3 cars, all of my cars, in my garage, which was perfect. But since that time, and this is going back many weeks, the cars stayed, or the Land Rover stayed pushed under that lift, and I haven't been doing anything on it at all. So you would have seen on the reel, on the intro, that I had a bit of an issue the last time I drove the car, which is also why I haven't done anything. And it has nothing to do with the car. It's no fault of the car. It's entirely my own fault. Essentially, when I was doing all the cylinder head work, the new gasket, cylinder head gasket, in the summer of last year, I just filled up the coolant reservoir, filled back up the coolant with just standard deionized water, thinking, oh, I'll just do that to get it going and then top it up with antifreeze, because in the summer you think, it's 30 degrees and you don't think about antifreeze, or at least I didn't. So that was mistake number 1. And yeah, I mean, a really silly mistake, and I forgot about it, and then was using it in the winter, -10, and it held out for really long, but by -10, I drove it from my house in the city up to my garage, which is about 5 kilometers, and just at the traffic lights on the road up to my garage, I could hear it like a boiling kettle, and then in that second it clicked, and I thought, oh Christ, yeah, entirely my fault, and I managed to pull into a lay-by, and then it all went off, and that's where I got that video clip from. So a really silly mistake. So please learn from my mistakes if you're in the same position. Always finish a job as if you're going to, leave it. So 100% finished. So the only thing I didn't do is put antifreeze in the system, and that was the downfall of the car in the winter. So essentially what I want to do, I want to rectify that issue, because it's been literally sitting here like this without any antifreeze in it, because I drained the system after that, for, crikey, 6 or 8 weeks. So what I want to do is I want to flush the system, and I want to fill it up with some proper coolant, and I've got that right here. And then we will be pretty much fit to take the car to the MOT. So I haven't, the MOT ran out just before Christmas, and I want to prepare the car for that as well. And the other job that I've definitely got to do is, after doing all of that work on the cylinder head, I've got to retorque the cylinder head bolts. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this space here. I'm going to push the Land Rover back into its original space and have a look under the bonnet to see what I've got to do. Okay, so that's really weird. It won't budge. I mean, I'm not starting it, but it just won't budge. I thought I had the handbrake on, and I took the handbrake wasn't on, and then it was, I thought maybe in gear, and it's not in gear. Then I thought maybe there's a piece of wood under the wheels to stop it from rolling, and there isn't. It just seems that the brakes have seized, which is a pain in the ass. So I'm gonna have to see what's going on, because I can't think what else the issue might be. Either that, or I've just gone really weak over the Christmas holidays. Okay, so nothing's ever easy. It must be that issue that I experienced a while ago where the brakes were binding in reverse, because I can push it forward, but pushing it backwards is mad. I've just used that huge supporting bar back there to sort of lever it against the cross member of the lift, and it did move backwards. God, I'm knackered. But I can hear the brakes binding on that side here. So I don't know why that's happened, but I'm wondering whether I'm going to get the BMW round and just pull it backwards, because it is such a heavy car when the brakes are binding. Man, this is ridiculous. That is not the way you want to start the day. Okay, so as you saw, I inched it out there with the crowbar and managed to get to here. And as I say, it's easy enough to push forward, but going backwards, it's just binding on the near side rear brake drum. So maybe that's because of having driven it in the snow and the salt, and maybe some salt and gunk has got in amongst the brake shoes. I don't know. Maybe it's binding because of that. Maybe it just needs a clean out. But I'll have a quick look. I mean, nothing's quick on this, but I'll have a look in the drum to see why it's binding and see if I can free that up a little bit. But otherwise, I've got it on charge. And yeah, just looking in the engine bay for the first time, really. Remnants here, as you can see. It's a bit dark in here, but of the overheating scenario. And of course, this is completely empty because I drained the system a few weeks back by the bottom hose. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up, and although it's not optimal really because it's minus numbers now, but obviously there's no coolant in there at all. So I'll fill it up, get it going, and take it just down to the next building where there's a hose, and I can flush the system. Obviously wait for the engine to cool down, but flush the system there. Okay, so I've just got some more water, loosely put on the bottom hose. I guess driving at 20 yards isn't going to put too much pressure in the system. And then obviously, once I'm down there where the hose pipe is, I'll disconnect the bottom hose, drain it all out again. And then, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the bottom hose back up, undo the drain plug in the block, which is on the right hand side of the engine, and flush it that way. I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't suppose you're going to give me an answer by the time I actually do it, but that is my plan. Oops, that sort of went everywhere. So I think I'm putting in now about 6.5 litres of coolant. And I did have a tip actually from Steam Wally that when he drains and then refills the system, he disconnects a heater hose, to help bleed the system, which I've never done before. So, oops, there we go. Okay, system full. So maybe I'll try that now. Actually, see what happens with that. Let me bring you in here. Okay, change of plan. I'm not going to take that off to bleed the system because I'm only going 20 yards and it's taking too long. So I'm just going to try and get it started and then take it down the road for a flush. Okay, so I'm expecting this to be absolutely dead as a pancake. What's going on with that charger? But let me give it a go. Okay, we have lightage. Which is a good start. Now it has started on way less charge than that in the past, but what I need is some starter fluid, and I haven't got any. Whoa. Well, what do you know? That is a surprise. God. That is rough as hell. I'm amazed that started so well, actually. Well, defined well, it started. It was seriously chugging there, but good enough to get it going. Okay, so I've got the hose down here. It's just literally, my garage is up there and this building is just down here. Can't show you too much of it, obviously, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't know if you can see it, but open that plug right there on the block, and I'm going to flush the engine. Okay, look at this. I've just released that that drain plug there, and literally nothing came out. Then I was sort of messing with it, and all this gunk came onto my hands here, which is just, goodness me, look at that. It's like oil. So maybe that drain plug is blocked. I'm going to have to do some more investigation there. Oh, that drain plug is very temperamental. It's, look at that. It's just sort of in dribs and drabs. I remember when I did it, when I flushed the engine, when I rebuilt it, that was pouring out there. It was fine. Maybe I have to take that nut off at the back as well. Wobble the car a bit. But yeah, maybe it's just getting blocked up. I'll keep trying. Okay, now it's starting to come out in all its glory, in all its oily glory. I hope it's not oil. I hope it's just sludge. Okay, so this is somewhat unconventional, but it seems to work, so prepare yourself. Just got to pinch the overflow pipe so it doesn't go there. God, the things we do for our Land Rovers, it's, I hope nobody's watching. Oh, apart from all of YouTube, of course, yeah. But yeah, that's CPR, or mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on the Land Rover, seems to have got that cleared, so that works. Okay, so bottom hose removed, hose in the top, and yeah, I guess cleaning out the radiator. Okay, system's filled back up just with standard water. Haven't connected the, well, I have connected the bottom hose, but I haven't secured it properly yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that until the, up to temperature, until the thermostat opens, and then drain it again and then put the coolant in. Okay, so I'm going to leave that running now. I've tightened up the bottom hose, and yeah, as I say, leave that running, get it up to temperature, get the thermostat open, and then drain it again, and then fill it back up again. Okay guys, I'm just trying to work out what's happening here. In all of the time the engine was running, the bottom hose of the radiator wasn't getting hot. The temperature gauge on the inside of the car was sort of hanging around just below half, I guess, maybe less. And I drove it around, and literally it's been running for 20 minutes, and the bottom hose still cold. So I took the cap off, and there was, virtually, it was just lukewarm. Took the cap off and then took the top hose off, and yes, lots of water came out. But what I'm getting now, when I'm blocking the top part off the radiator, putting pressure with, mouth to mouth sort of thing on here, water is coming up through the thermostat. So I'm wondering, that housing is still quite warm, and which means the thermostat's open, yeah? Let me just demonstrate. So I've just put pressure on there, and you can see the water is draining back down. It comes up through the thermostat and drains back down through the thermostat. So I think this is like, I can't remember, 70 or 80 degree thermostat, and maybe it's just stuck open. Basically what I'm going to do is just let everything cool down and try this test again by blowing on this, blocking this, and seeing if that thermostat is actually working or not. Okay, so I just consulted the Oracle, and apparently it's quite acceptable to have a little bit of leakage on these thermostats, and there's also a bypass within the thermostat, so I understand. As you can tell, I'm not incredibly knowledgeable about the setup here of the thermostat housing and the way the cooling system works on this Land Rover. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all back together, basically, and put the coolant in and stop worrying about it. Because also, what I was worried about is the bottom hose not heating up, which on normal cars it heats up nicely, but mine was just cold the whole time. But apparently what that means is the cooling system is working incredibly well, and probably at this time of year in its minus numbers, the engine-driven fan is overcooling the engine anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to completely redrain the system again of all the normal water, fix all the hoses, top it up with coolant, and stop worrying about it, and that'll be another job jobbed. Okay, what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for the engine to cool down, because I don't want to put cold coolant into the engine, I'm going to retorque the cylinder head bolts like I've been wanting to do for quite some time. So I'm just going to remove some things: rocker cover, air intake, spark plugs, just to get to all the bolts. Okay, so spark plugs are out, rocker cover is off. I just thought I'd show you the spark plugs actually after doing all the timing, and I'm pretty confident they are looking good. I don't know what you guys think, but they're all looking very, very similar. So I think the car is running really nicely. Let me know your thoughts, if it would ever focus, on these spark plugs. Okay, so that has got all of the cylinder head bolts retightened. 2 or 3 of them were ever so slightly loose, interestingly on this side of the engine, but everything else was absolutely fine. Followed the Haynes manual as usual, tightening sequence, and yeah, now I'm going to put everything back together. Okay, everything is buttoned up here, and now I'm going to put in the coolant. So there is 8 litres which fits in the Series 3, and I'm going to do a half mix, which I think, if memory serves, takes me down to -20, is that right? Let's have a look. -15, I was 30, well if I do 30%, 30% mix takes me down to -15, which is enough for here. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got the engine running.
just bleeding the system now, and yeah, I think the best way I'm finding to do it is to remove this radiator hose here. I let it run, pull that off, and it bleeds the system that way. So I think it's taken 8 litres at the very least. Okay, just taking it out for a bit of a run, and the temperature seems to be, yeah, it seems to be okay. I can't go too far, but yeah, looks all right, and it's running really well. Yeah, so I mean, it's about 0 degrees or -1 degree at the moment, and this is what it was doing beforehand, you know, running for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes. The temperature doesn't really go up much further than that, so I'll just monitor it and see how we get on. But I think that has been a good day's work today, getting the cylinder head bolts tightened up again or retorqued, and getting the system flushed and new coolant in the system, and I'm really pleased with that. So actually what I need to do now is get an MOT because it ran out at Christmas. So I'm just going to whip back to the garage and yeah, prepare for that. I'll see you later. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to all the comments and so on, and I'll see you next time.